Everyone, is the Prophet Michael David, aka Aries, and today we're going to go over the Earth Diver that I originally brought up in my Raphael's Horn video on April 5th earlier this year. Also, Happy New Year to everyone. So, what is the Earth Diver? Well, the Earth Diver is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, myths in all of humanity. Dates back to 50,000, 100,000 years, because the oldest cultures on the planet are either the Aboriginal Australians, who are at least 50,000 years old, and the Bushmen of Africa, which are 100,000 years old. But they all have very similar tales, including this one. That's Cregan Ford. He's probably one of the best places for information on this. At least he's one of my favorites. There are others though. But again, I'll give you the nutshell of the legend. All right, in the legend, and this spans all around the globe, there's this giant hunter that is pursuing seven sisters. And yeah, and then there's always a warrior or something that fights him to defend the sisters. So that's played out in the stars with the constellations Orion and Taurus, as we've talked about before. And so I'll post one image here. All right, in that first screenshot, you can see the eternal battle between Orion and the constellation Taurus. And as we talked about before, the seven sisters, the Pleiades, which are on Taurus's back, or he's defending them, even though only six are visible to the given eye these days. Those are the maidens, the representation of women. And the Taurus is the Taurus. The constellation is sometimes called Ophiuchus because of a Greek myth and everything. It's sometimes shown as having like a serpent's tail because it doesn't really have any hindquarters. But there's an even older myth about it that rings truer, where the Taurus is actually, there's only half of it because it's like emerging from the underworld to fight Orion. And Orion represents kind of like the narcissistic, rapey douchebags of this universe. Even more so on that screenshot, you can see it's not just Taurus versus Orion. Orion has the two dogs, and especially Sirius A is known as the dog star. But it's also portrayed as the devil in a lot of mythology. So you kind of have, the hunter with his two hunting dogs hunting the Pleiades, and he's fighting against Taurus. And also, as we've talked about before, solar representation, the fiery eye of the constellation of Taurus is a star called Aldebaran. Its ancient name is Aldebaran, and it is the solar representation of the Archangel Michael. So, in conclusion, like I said, this is a battle that has, and you can see how even modern religions really were influenced by past, mythology. You got the, narcissistic, rapey douchebag giant Orion and his dogs hunting down the Pleiades, because, that's what those guys do. And they're being valiantly defended by the constellation of Taurus, emerging from the underworld, and the Archangel Michael. And like I said, it's the eternal battle that's been written in the stars for long before the Earth existed. All right, now in conclusion, I'm going to give you guys like the true definition or prophetic definition of what the Earth Diver really is, and why it's portrayed, or that screenshot for the thumbnail is of like a bird, because that's weirdly how I think of it. So the Earth Diver, in its most basic construct is just the relationship between God and her prophets. The angel of the Lord is in there a little bit, but here we go. Um, God is often portrayed as a great tree, and the angel of the Lord is like an eagle sitting on top of that tree. And sometimes, in the roots, there's the concept of Nidhogg, which is somewhat portrayed with the devil, but we don't really have to worry about that now. But think of that whole construct as like an island in a vast void of sea. And so the tree is God, the bird is the angel of the Lord, and the land that that tree sits on is like the mortal world. All right. And then the earth diver, the bird, is the aquatic bird, is the prophet. And its duty is to basically dive down into the dark waters. And kind of like, if you guys ever remember the movie Waterworld, where Kevin Costner would dive down and get dirt from the submerged cities that he could sell, the earth diver kind of does that. Goes down into the darkness and does all these things for God and gathers all this stuff, good stuff, then brings it back up to the surface and dumps it on the land. Thus, the land gets larger and larger and larger. And you can see the crux of the myth. If the earth diver is pious and very hardworking and keeps going down, the land grows and grows and grows and grows. But if the earth diver does not do what God wants him or her to do, or gives up or whatever, eventually those dark waters will erode the land around the tree, that even the tree sinks into the dark waters. So in a nutshell, that's what the earth diver really is. It's just God's relationship with prophets. All right, now before I sign off, I'm just going to drop a bunch of screenshots of some YouTube videos that I screenshotted that I put in a troll folder called True Humanity, just people that at this point in the world of lies and violence that we live in are truly speaking truth and everything. And it definitely sticks out. And, God's very proud of them, as is the angel of the Lord, as am I. So, like I said, it's just all stuff you can look up on YouTube. All right, I guess one more thing here before I sign off, because God wants me to show all you guys since this is my last day of my year of Jubilee, so she wants me to show you all the stuff again. All right. These are all my papers. It's a pretty good amount. These are all my stickies, also a very good amount. And you'll have to take my word for this, but yeah, there's a lot of spreadsheets and stuff on this thing. So it has truly been a long year, but my most productive year ever. So, in so many ways. So, the last thing I'm going to do after I do the normal sign off is I'm going to drop a screenshot of my sign again that comes out here, either probably not tomorrow because it's New Year's Day, that's a holiday, but either the 2nd or the 3rd. And It's called the sign, and I worked very hard for it. So, um, as always, rule number one: do not touch other people without their consent, aka, do not hurt each other. And rule number two: it's all about honesty. Lies are a tick down, aka, try not to lie. And again, Happy New Year to you all.